Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 97 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And you're lucky that I'm here. I could be home playing Persona 5 right now.
I could be here playing Persona 5 right now.
Well, why don't we just go and play Persona 5 then?
Well, no.
Everyone listening to this donate $1 so that I don't have to feel quite so bad for missing Persona 5.
Okay.
I will scumbag this whole episode because of how badly I want to be playing Persona 5 right now.
I also badly want to be playing Persona 5. I would like to be reading, like, Japanese or something, or playing Persona 5.
Is your Persona 5 in Japanese? No, it's too...
No, I wanted to, but it would be too... Like, I wanted to buy it when we were in there in September, but I had to, restrain myself, that's the word I'm looking for, and not buy it, because I'm like, no, I won't be able to understand a word, because it'll be probably in very complex Japanese.
I also thought about it, and that made even less sense.
And you don't even read any Japanese.
I just thought it would look really nice, and honestly, it does.
Yeah, well, there's that.
I'm upset, basically.
Anyway, so I'm May, and Jay's upset, basically.
Yep.
And this week, we watched Socket Takuya. I hate that title so much.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, Socket Takuya, Socket Takuya.
Oh, I didn't get it last week.
It's like Kumamon Baby Light My Fire. I realised that, 14 years later.
That was at least kind of close. Or Feel the Power of the Digimon. Takuya's full body strategy.
Oh my god. And Alone, but Never Alone.
Or Confrontation. Volcaemon Junpei's battle with his past. Exclamation point.
It's like, I hate that, but apparently our listeners don't hate that, so I have to let you do it. And
yes, I have overpowered you with my awfulness.
And that really makes me sad, because, we have that survey and everyone's just like, yeah, so can we just have like a supercut of Jay mispronouncing things? I'm just like, oh my god, why?
I keep telling everybody, if you give me episode numbers and timestamps, I'll do it.
For DigiNews this week, first of all, for Digimon Heroes, there's a new event, and it's a Pedaledramon event.
I don't care, let's move on.
I love Pedaledramon. Ding, ding, look. I don't know why I've written that. I think it must have meant something when I wrote that. Like, say, ding, ding, look at this game or whatever, but, apparently it just says ding, ding, look. I have no idea. For the next bit of DigiNews, Toei's April Fool's little poster came out, and it was... Like, you know how last year they did a Chapter 3, mock-up poster, but it had, Sukamon and Edamon? This year they did another one, but it was with Platinum Sukamon and Metal Edamon and a few others. It was really funny.
Isn't it really weird that it has been a full year and, just episode 3 and 4 came out?
Yes.
That's really slow.
Yeah, and we don't even know Chapter 5's date release yet.
Oh my god, it's slow.
But speaking of which, we do now have a clear and official, visual for the Movie 5 poster. And there appears to be possibly something behind May Crackmon's evolution.
Did you say called May Crackmon?
Yes, I know, it makes me very uncomfortable as someone called May.
May Crackmon.
Yes, I hate its name. This isn't May Crackmon. May Crackmon's like the evil one that we saw. But it seems either this evolution has huge white wings or there's another thing behind it. But I'm not quite sure. We also can see that, and some people had pointed this out in the blurry visual, that Hikari is holding her whistle. And yep, she's holding her whistle. We can see the necklace part. I can't talk tonight.
Also,
apparently.
Very important, April Fools, everyone who fell for it.
Yeah, but apparently also people didn't realise that Special 21 was an April Fool's episode and either didn't listen to it or just said, hey, so the Rick roll in the episode, at the end of episode 96, it didn't top last year's one where you made a full episode. I'm like, we made it. So for people asking, that was actually the first episode of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and it's on Crunchyroll, and I actually described in the episode Crunchyroll's logo.
As the watermark.
Yeah, it's the watermark. Obviously, we didn't watch it in Japanese. We had the subtitles because we watched on Crunchyroll. So most certainly, you should go out and watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid because it's on Crunchyroll, and it's
pretty funny.
It's pretty great, and I want to watch more of it. And it's adorable. And if you like dragons and women, basically, it's a good anime. So yeah, that was our special episode 21. and you should listen to that just for a laugh. But yeah, April Fool's lol. And yeah, some people actually said, so what is that? Can we have like, do you have like any footage? I'm like, oh my, here's the video, and it's Rickroll. He's Rickroll.
You should have sent a link from Crunchyroll to Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
No, that's too obvious. I sent them a Rickroll instead.
What is too obvious? They already fell for it.
Okay, good point.
Okay, what's more obvious than April Fools? Here's an anime, or here's a Rickroll.
Okay, good point. I like Rickroll.
Get out of my face.
Rickroll's the best, alright?
God, what are you from 2003?
Yes, Rickroll is one of the few acceptable
Who
April Fool's
are
jokes.
you?
I am the shadow.
Thou art I.
I am the true self. Thou art I. And also another bit of exciting news, but for us, probably not for anyone who listens, but, well, for me, not for Jay, is that for Australia, the DVD and Blu-ray disc release of Try Chapter 1 is coming out in July with English dub as well as Japanese with English subtitles, and it's being published by Madman.
It's pretty crap that there's just Chapter 1 on the whole DVD.
That's because that's the only one they've done in English.
Well, it's still crap. Just wait until there's 1 to 3.
Yeah, but well, they're not doing the dub for that.
What if they are?
Yeah, I'm not going to wait, 3 years.
Okay, well, too bad. Now you have to buy 6 DVDs instead of 2.
I don't mind. I don't think they're going to compile all the chapters in one.
Oh, I don't think they will either, but I think they should.
Yeah, but
I think it's disgusting how in, Japan or whatever, it's like, here's your $60 DVD. It has 2 episodes on it.
Oh, yeah, no, they definitely do collections because it makes more money. But they can also release it quickly instead of releasing it slowly.
Also, while I'm complaining, I hate when you see a DVD box set and you turn it around and there's one DVD in there that's not even it's like, oh, here's the tie-in movie, and also the box is empty and you have to get all the other DVDs to put it in the DVD box set.
I've never seen that.
What do you mean? You looked at it the other day. We were in JB and you pulled out
that Love Live one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
And that was a side movie, and you couldn't get all of Love Live. You had to find all the DVDs individually and stuff them into the box.
No, that was very weird. Anyway, speaking of Madman, we applied for press passes for Madman's convention in November.
Get ready to get rejected.
Yeah, get ready to get rejected, us, I guess. But, it's worth a shot, right?
May as well.
It'd be fun.
They asked you, how many lists do you have? Oh, yeah, we have a couple.
Well, we have at least, 500.
Yeah, at least.
Well, our Tumblr has 700 followers.
Wait, okay, sure. I don't know what our metrics are anymore.
Well, our Tumblr has the most amount of followers compared to Twitter and Facebook.
That's fair enough.
Our YouTube has 200, I think, subscribers. I don't know. Yeah, we're the best with our 200 subscribers.
Straight baller media titans that we are.
Yes, we are clearly the top of the YouTube charts at the moment.
The U charts, if you will.
Well, we're probably doing better than Fred.
Who's Fred?
Exactly.
Even so, if you were the most popular YouTuber ever at any stage, you'd still probably have 300,000 now.
Yeah. I mean, Fred had movies with John Cena in it and stuff. So.
That was the best thing John Cena's ever done.
Yeah. Anyway, so another bit of news is that Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory had a trailer.
You mean Hacker's Memory?
I haven't watched it today because it came out when I was at work and now I'm recording, but I will watch it. And I'm assuming it's great because it's a trailer for the new Cyber Sleuth, and Cyber Sleuth is pretty cool.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Hey, I liked it. I liked the first one. I hope the second one's even better, though. Then there's also a event in Harajuku that is coming out, and it's called Digimon Real World, and I believe I did write down a date, but apparently I have deleted that date. I think it was sometime in June, maybe? I want to say June, because June is a good month, because it's my birthday in June. And then there's a bit of sad news. It's been a year since Koji Wada passed on, but there's been all these really lovely tributes by different musicians from Digimon and different people involved with Digimon, and they all went out for drinks.
Importantly,
and took a photo.
It is the opposite of news to say something happened a year ago.
No, but
that means it's by definition not new.
Okay, but it's still the news is it's been a year and it's
That's
sad.
not news!
It's news that they've been hanging out, though. It's nice when they've been hanging out.
It's like saying it's the news that 30 years ago the Berlin Wall went down. Is that new? Is this new information? Is this breaking? Did a reporter have to find out? Oh, yeah, a long time ago this thing happened. That's news.
And also, Frontier...
The entire field of archaeology.
Also, Frontier is 15 years old today. So happy birthday to the show that we're currently absolutely destroying and ripping to shreds.
I hope you have a terrible birthday.
Well, the birthday is almost over now.
Like Takuya's brother.
Because it was actually today.
Because his brother went and disappeared.
Yeah, and became
And then I bet their family broke down in tears, and then they called the police, and they couldn't find him.
And then he became like a fire monkey.
And there was like an epidemic of missing children because so many went to the digital world, and there were a lot more trains that took off with other kids besides the ones that are our main characters. So that's a lot of broken homes around Japan, and they probably think that there's like a ring of kidnappers around, but they're never going to cover that because it's a kids show.
Dude, why must you hurt me in this way?
Do you remember how Ken's parents reacted when he went missing? Imagine that, but times 100.
Okay, that is sad. But too bad it's only like a cartoon and there aren't actual kids being missing. Wait, I said
you
too
said
bad.
too bad there aren't actually kids missing?
I meant fortunately.
What kind of monster are you?
Yeah, too bad all the kids in the world just don't go away. And let me go shopping without having screaming in my ear.
That's it. That's the whole reason you'd end humanity in one generation, so that you can shop.
What has been your favourite part of Frontier so far?
When I get to stop talking about it.
So at the end of every episode, you're like, yes!
Yeah.
Free for a week.
Also, I guess the intro songs are pretty good.
Oh, the intro songs are good. English and Japanese, yeah?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, they're both great. Which is
Fire
better?
Power.
English or Japanese?
English for sure. English by
it is
50% at least.
I think it's close, but I think English because it is the best English opening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a competition so far. It has been the same song or this one. And, well, my favourite bit is Pedaldramon, and I don't actually remember much about Pedaldramon.
You didn't open with a question.
I did. What has been your favourite part of Frontier? My favourite part of Frontier is Pedaldramon or Pokemon and Namon.
Okay, yeah.
Because, but the thing is, I'm continually amazed.
Why was Pedaldramon your favourite?
I'm continually amazed that you don't hate Pokemon and Namon. I was convinced you would hate them.
What's there to hate about them? They're continually entertaining.
I remember not liking them, but I love them now. They're my favourites.
Well, you remember liking Digimon, and I don't like it, so we have differing opinions.
Anyway, so what you asked just then about why I like Pedaldramon is that the little gimmick of him just giving advice, I just think is charming.
Pedaldramon doesn't do that. Only Arbomon does that.
No, he did it as Pedaldramon. He said, if you're eating, don't go to sleep.
Oh.
He did the ding.
But it's not as interesting because it actually does particularly apply what he was just doing.
Okay, I remember why in DigiNews I said ding ding look. Because he goes ding dong when he gives you the advice. Okay, now I understand the context. Thank you, me, from 4 days ago for being very clear with your intentions.
I get that really often with my notes. Sometimes I'll write, I'm really bored right now, which might be apt at the time, but when I'm trying to recap an episode, it does not help me at all.
Yeah. So we had some listener thoughts about what their favourite parts of Adventure Frontier were so far. I don't know why I said Adventure. I just like Adventure. Riku said Flamon, and then Kyle, who's also in our Slack, said biggest surprise was Bergamon episode. Hirolato in Slack said Frontier gave some nice designs. Smile Wolfie on Facebook said sexy dynamite. Other people did answer.
But that's ironic.
Oh, I would say so. Other people did answer, but they mentioned things that we haven't seen yet, so I will just not mention those.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're still valid in your opinions, but Jay doesn't want to be spoiled, and I don't want Jay to be spoiled. Joe on Twitter said Bergamon and Trailmon. Shadow Lilith 92 on Twitter said that the movie is the best Digimon film and how they love the background mythology themes and also Takuya and Izumi shipping moments.
Eat it, Summer Wars.
Summer Wars isn't a Digimon movie.
Yes, it is.
Our war game is.
It's the same movie.
Fight me.
You said it was the same movie.
And Zane II on Twitter said that the German stub ill-fated attempts to make the show less sexist was their favourite.
Fair enough.
For LostinTranslationmon, Special 21 came out, which we just mentioned, and you should have listened to that already, of course, obviously. And also watched Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, because it is fantastic. We also released Special Episode 22, which is the fanfic compilation, which at the moment has more listens than Episode 96.
Nice.
Because I shared it on Reddit, so I guess people just listened to it without listening to the rest of the show and were like, 12-year-old you.
It was really bad.
Yeah, so that's out. We actually released 4 episodes last weekend.
More than an hour of content. I didn't figure it would be so long.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half. Yeah. So we did like 5 hours of content last week, I think, on the last weekend. 4 episodes. Also, Dak and Jackster drew Skull Gabumon and Skull Shadow Garurumon from my fanfic.
Oh,
and
cute.
it's amazing. Like, it's not, I wouldn't say cute, it's terrifying, but in a good way. It's as terrifying
Well,
as
it
you
was
want to
cute
be.
that a drawing was done in response to the fanfiction.
Yeah, it was amazing.
12-year-old you would have died.
12-year-old me would be so happy. My 12-year-old me thanks you. And we are close to meeting our next Patreon milestone by like $2, I think.
We were over it for like a second, and then it went away.
Yeah, and then it went away. But we're still, because we're so close, we're still thinking about how we're going to upgrade the equipment. And we have a filmmaker friend who we're going to be consulting about equipment. And by that I mean we're just going to be saying, hey, can you help us? Can you help us? Until he helps us.
Yes.
And first on the list will be better mic and lap mics. So hopefully we can sound a bit better. It'd be nice to record without the laptop and actually have like an actual microphone, which my filmmaker friend is upset that we don't have already.
It would be nice not to have like this directional microphone pointed between us and just have lap mics that we can just talk. And I don't have to face the same way for 2 hours.
Also, I had a fun idea for a new show that we could have on our YouTube, which is called Is This Evolution Canon? And
we have so much content.
I know, but I just think it'd be fun.
We do so much content.
I know, but it's just for like...
Put up a new Patreon milestone. I don't care, but we do so much content.
And yeah, so we also have some surveys. First of all, we actually did put up the birthday special survey during the week. And if you want us to grab sound clips, please send us sound files or give us the episode and the timestamp so Jay can edit it, because I am not going to be going through the podcast episodes and getting the sounds. Jay will be doing that. So send them in the survey, or if you don't want to send it in the survey, just send it via an email and just say, yo, episode 96, 11 minutes and 53 seconds in for 5 seconds or whatever. And we'll do that.
It's going to take a while. When's that birthday again?
We have a month. What?
Good luck with that, me.
Yeah,
Getting it in a month.
So far, I don't think anyone's given us timestamps, though. But yeah, so you have a month to complete the survey if you're interested in helping us out at all for that episode. Also, some people seem confused because they were telling us their favourite quotes from Cross Wars, which we haven't seen yet. But it was not just for what is your favourite part of quote from Digimon. It was also what is your favourite quote from the show. So just to be clear, the quote from the show is from as I said, the podcast show, like the episodes, and the quote from Digimon has to be something we've seen already, because otherwise it's, it doesn't have context to Jay because he hasn't seen Cross Wars yet. And also there's the Lane and fanfic survey, which will be open for another week or so because we want to start Lane next weekend because it's the Easter long weekend, so we'll have a bit more time. And so you have a week left to participate in the survey. We're also doing the fanfic around then too, and we did have one interesting response to that survey, which I'll just read now, and it's, Jay shouldn't be allowed to watch episodes at 1.5 speed. It takes away from the legitimacy of having Jay review episodes as a first-time viewer. And I totally agree with this. Also, he listens at 2 times speed, and I have spoken to him about this before, about how, he'll miss things, and he does. His notes are a lot shorter than mine.
Also, but that said, you include a lot of stuff I don't think is relevant.
Yeah,
and then I want to skip that stuff because it's not relevant, and you say, no, we're going to talk about this thing. Also, and then you say it, you mention it, I'm like, okay, great. Well, that wasn't relevant.
You miss out on things, though.
Yeah, sometimes, but mostly I just don't include irrelevant stuff. But anyway, I think that is an interesting point, but also I have a limited time in my day.
So do I.
Yeah, but we use them for different things.
Yeah, I have less time for games and stuff.
Yeah, and I also don't like Digimon, so I spend half as much time watching it. I have still got the content and the story. You
haven't sounded that angry about Digimon since when we first started with Digimon Adventure.
I mean, I'm just resigned now.
It's because of Frontier.
It would be, I don't know. I guess it's like stepping on a nail. You have more experience with this than I do. But
yes, I do.
You're like, oh, that really hurts. That sucks. And you're angry. You're like, oh, God, I'm angry I stepped on this thing. But eventually, you've been walking with this nail in your foot long enough, you're just like, oh, well, it's still there.
No, they took me to hospital.
Okay, well, this nail here is not going to give me, lockjaw. So, whatever.
Yeah, I was in Thailand.
Yeah. So, assuming it's a clean one, right? It's just a pain, and then eventually, I can just move along. Walking sucks now. But here's the thing, right? Let's take it back to this. If I have a destination to get to, i.e. the end of Digimon, I'm going to walk faster. You can't tell me, you need to experience the pain in your foot as perfectly and as it was intended. No. It still hurts.
Can you at least... It hurts if you walk faster. You'd want to limp. Can you at least,
What?
watch it
No.
a little bit slower? Like, not at 2 times
If I walk
speed?
faster, then I'll get to the destination quicker.
Yeah, but you'll be more sore.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine. That's okay.
It's
If I
natural,
trip
doesn't
along
work.
the way because I was walking twice as fast, i.e. missing little bits, I don't mind.
We also have an Instagram account now. So, yeah, follow that. It's LostinTranslationmon. It's on Instagram. We're going to start sharing that in the description as well.
Hey, May, how much does a hipster weigh?
And Instagram.
That's not very much.
So we got a shout out on a new Digimon podcast, and they also invited us to guest host some time on their show, which could be fun. And this podcast is called the Going Digital Podcast.
I didn't hear about this.
And they just started, and they just finished their the Devimon Arc of Adventure, and they cover one episode at a time. And so if you're interested in another Digimon podcast, there's that. And they gave us a shout out.
That's
because
awesome.
I messaged them and I was like, hey, good luck with your podcast. So, and yes, I listen to every Digimon podcast because I love Digimon.
That's
And
embarrassing.
I love the fandom. So yeah, I've been keeping up to date with their podcast and tweeting at them, and I need to give them an iTunes review. I've just been busy, but I will.
I thought you were talking about the other shout out we got 4 months ago,
Oh yeah,
which I didn't even know about.
So I was googling the podcast as you do today. So I was just googling Lost in Translation. Finally realized that we
no
don't
ego in it whatsoever.
we don't come up as Lost in Translation anymore. It doesn't say did you mean. It just says okay, you mean Lost in Translation
Oh.
clearly. So that's
Cool.
nice. Anyway. So, and I found that Cake Subs, who are the fan subber for
Atmon.
said when they uploaded episode 10 saying...
In December.
Yeah, in December. And they said how they've been listening to Lost in Translation and our episodes of covering Atmon, and they've been really enjoying us. And then they said, this isn't a sponsored post or whatever, I just wanted to give them a shout out. I'm like, aw, thank you from, 4 months in the future.
In case they only listen to the app stuff, we'll probably just say it again on the next
Yeah, we'll probably
bit
say
we
it
do.
again just because, I don't know.
I like recognizing this stuff.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. I don't know, because, we were consuming their media and we didn't even know they were consuming ours, so...
During
yay.
the opening bit, where, it's going, Kachite, I'm Shinkai Haru, or whatever. It does this whole thing in the bit.
Yeah.
There should be, a translator's note at the top in brackets. You know how it used to say, Keikaku means plan?
Yeah.
This one just says, listen to Lost in Translation Mon.
I wish, that'd be awesome.
LostinTranslationmon.com. Wink, wink, wink.
And
Here's their Patreon.
We have a website now, so it's easier to link
Cross-promotion.
to us. Anyway, so yeah, on to Obnoxious Synopsis. That was a very long DigiNews. I'm sorry, but we had a lot to talk about. Yeah.
I would die if that happened. I would die.
With what happened?
If that actually showed up at the top of an episode.
Oh yeah, I'd die too. I'd die. The first episode that we're watching this week, annoyingly in the dub, is called Socket Takuya, or Feel the Power of Digimon, Takuya's full body strategy. What do you think will happen in this episode?
I have no idea. I have nothing. What is a full body strategy? What's socket? Not the word socket, like an electrical socket, and not sock it, like to punch or whatever. Socket. One word, and I don't know what it means.
And who's Takuya? What's a Digimon? What's power?
What's feels?
What's thee?
Yeah, so there are problems with this title, and honestly, I can't give you anything.
Well-
So guess what? What will happen? It'll be bad because it's Frontier. What I think will annoy me? Frontier. Do you think it's a good episode? No. Rating 5. Filler, not filler. It will not be filler. Let's move on. Second episode. Let's go.
Jay, you can't just steal my topic questions.
I don't care. Moving on.
So you can't just predict what
I've
will
got
happen
nothing.
from the last
Nothing.
episode. He just got off the
Nothing.
train going nowhere.
Nothing.
Okay, so I guess Jay doesn't want to
There.
cooperate
That's
with
me
that.
saying nothing 4 times.
Okay. So the second episode that we're watching this week is called Alone But Never Alone, or Confrontation Volcamon, Junpei's battle with his past. What do you think will happen this episode? Please give me more than just
Have we met
Frontier's bad.
Volcamon yet?
No.
What the hell's Volcamon?
He's a Digimon. There you go.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking with this one is that I know that Takuya's gone through his thing and he cowered it out and everything. I think that the kids might each have an episode of whatever the Black Mist does to them, and so.
You're going to sneeze.
Oh, there's a good spike on the audio.
Junpei sneezes. That's the plot. He sneezes
Oh
away.
my god, that was a strong one.
That's you sneezing away the plot.
Wow.
That was so impressive, I'm going to leave that in. that is your full body strategy.
That's my full body strategy.
Takuya will sneeze.
Oh, we had time to fill, didn't we? Okay.
Well, we have to do something, because in Tamers we were having 10 to 15 minute obnoxious synopsis. In Frontier, it's just Frontier's bad for
it
2
really
minutes.
is bad.
Onto the episode.
And the
Okay,
titles are so unhelpful.
Yeah.
I think that Junpei has, like, we get to finally figure out anything about him. Guess what? We don't know anything about where Junpei comes from. Does he have siblings? He's never mentioned it. Does he have any parents? No, he could have just been made out of, like, a test tube. We don't know anything about him.
He could be Eugen.
We could find out that he was, like, this lonely kid, and he ate to make himself feel better, and all this stuff is going on. I don't know, we get to see his backstory, I think, in this episode, and that's what's important. And also, he probably fights Volcamon. It's important. We want this for people. Who's Zoe? She's Italian.
What will happen?
I just said it.
I just asked that question. See, you got me distracted with your sneeze.
Yeah, huh?
That was your full body strategy to distract me. Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
Yes, always. I think that his backstory will be there and then crap, and it'll get cut off really short because it's got to fight a Digimon because, you know, what would Digimon be without fighting all the time?
So you don't think the backstory has anything to do with the Digimon?
No. Why would his backstory have anything to do with Digimon? That's insane.
Plot? I don't know. Maybe his backstory is he's actually a Digimon in real life.
That's not happening.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
Oh, no, I think Volcamon might be like the child Digimon he's turned into.
Oh, so you think we're going to get an arc of all them as child Digimon?
Maybe. That's a possibility.
Yes, the lightning volcano. I can see that.
I don't know, man.
That's something that happens.
It's probably not that. But it also could be like Voltmon, that they just spelled wrong, because it's Japan. I don't know.
Do you think it'll be a good episode? You can't just say Frontier is bad.
It's not a good episode, no.
What rating?
5.
You have such low expectations. Filler or not filler?
Not filler. On to the episodes. Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go. On to the episodes. Pachow. Maybe Jay sneezes less. Maybe he doesn't. Die.
Oh, there's no more.
There's no more. You used it all up in that one. You have to, like, be sparing with your sneezes.
Sneeze twice.
So, on to the shitty show.
See you soon.
The shitty show? Shitty show. Well, I don't know what I was meant to say. On to the show anyway. So, episode 23 starts off where episode 22 left off, and everyone's gone, and Agunimon's blaming himself and is running around trying to find them. In the dub, he's saying how Koji was right, and then he starts calling out to everyone, Tomoki, Koji, Izumi, Junpei, Bokumon, and Neomon.
I can't figure out, like, it's so strange when he was standing at the edge of the crater.
Yeah?
I don't know, have you ever seen the Evil Dead 2?
Yes, you forced it on me.
Which means you fell asleep halfway through it, so you don't know what happens at the end.
No, you made me stay awake.
So no, it was Army of Darkness.
Yes, you made me watch that too.
Awesome. Do you remember what happens at the end?
Yes.
Okay.
Vaguely, he has like a chainsaw in his arm, and there's all these zombies and dinosaurs and stuff on it.
Okay, you definitely were asleep.
No, I know, it was like years ago.
It's the bit after he takes like the sleeping potion, and he takes too much of it, and so he wakes up and the Earth got modern and then got destroyed, and then he's standing over the wreckage and he's like, I slept too long! And that's exactly what Takuya is going through, because he's come back and now everything's destroyed and all his friends are captured, and he's just like, I was asleep too long!
Army of Duskmon.
Also, didn't he go back in time? Like, how did he spend so much time away?
Arguably, if he was back in time, it was only back in time for the duration of him being in the human world.
Does that mean that he's only been away from them for the duration of 2 train rides?
Or it's because it was a hallucination. And I think I'm on the board of I'm all aboard the train that says it's a hallucination.
But even if it was a hallucination, he was only hallucinating for like 2 hours. At most, he's been gone for like 4 hours.
Well, we don't know how time passes in this digital world.
True. But if it's a hallucination, he was never out of the digital world.
Yeah, but if he was, we don't know how it affects. Like, it could be negative time.
It could be, but like, if our theory is correct, then he never left. So time isn't relevant. What is relevant is that he took 2 train rides and then had an imagination session.
Yeah, but
so he's probably been gone for like 5 hours. How did this happen?
I think the spirits just kidnapped them.
But it also, like, implies that the rest of the world was, like, busted up.
You need to suspend your disbelief more.
No, you can't make me.
I feel like it could work. If they kidnapped them straight up, like, if they were passed out because of the darkness and the evil spirits kidnapped them.
How did Koji get away?
He was injured and he ran away.
So wouldn't he be the least likely to run away?
So it makes no sense that he is, besides, this is a very plot-convenient episode. He should be definitely the one tied up and maybe the others shouldn't be. But because of the plot convenience, Koji is free because he has to be, because the plot involves Koji.
Do you agree that what the show is trying to imply is that Takuya has been gone for like a week?
No.
Really? You think if the show goes, he's been gone for 5 hours?
Because they should have said that. Because I know that Digimon Adventure, when Taichi came back, they really said, he's been gone for like 3 months.
Well, 3 months is very different from like 2 days.
I know, but I'm just saying I feel like they should at least say it. And I feel like Digimon Adventure did it much better.
Well, definitely.
And Frontier was just sort of like looking at the vague notes and saying, yeah, we can do that. But they don't actually state how much time or give any hint at how long has actually passed. It could have been like a couple of hours, and I got the impression it was a couple of hours, but they didn't actually say.
Fair enough.
Like, would they not be dead? If they were captured for that long, they would be dead, because we've been shown that in Frontier they need to eat. I still feel like it was a couple of hours. In the dub, it's the same. He calls out for the others, but he adds on anyone. And I really like how he says Tomoki first, because he's got that little brother relationship with him. But how dare he leave Bokumon and Amon last, because they're the most important characters.
Amon can be last. Bokumon's the one that matters.
They both matter. Together they matter. It's important.
Gun patching.
Koji is walking through the forest and wonders why Duskmon didn't kill him. Then we see that Junpei, Tomoki, and Azumi are chained up, and some Datamon are playing with their Digivices, but for some reason are unable to open them, despite the other one being able to.
Within like 30 seconds, with the same tools. Okay, sure, let's even fine. They can't manage it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because they're evil. Doesn't matter.
They seem dumb.
Next thing.
These Datamon seem a lot dumber than the one that we saw. They don't seem to communicate at all. They seem almost primitive. They don't seem, to have much character behind them, so I feel like they're maybe a lower intelligence Datamon who just do, banging things, but they don't actually put any thought into it, and that's why they can't open it up.
Maybe. But then the next thing that happens is Junpei begins saying, he's going to evolve or something, and then his Digivice starts floating towards him.
Yes, but I like this.
How did he get force powers?
No, it doesn't.
And second of all...
It's because he says, spirit, and he knows that previously that has always been able to get his spirit to react to him. So he was wondering if, since the spirit is inside the detector, if that has the same effect.
I don't think this was experimental. It made it seem like he really knew what was going to happen.
No, I think he was trying, he was trying different things, while Tomoki and Azumi were just saying the same thing, like, hey, give it back, because that would work, clearly. Junpei's actually thinking, and he's trying different approaches. He wasn't
trying different approaches, that's the only thing he tried.
I know, and I find that interesting that he at least tried to do something different. It makes him a lot more thoughtful, and we have seen them scream spirit at their spirits before and got them to react.
Tomoki should have done that when they were in the pawn shop.
He didn't know. None of the characters explicitly knew, but because Junpei is quite smart, and we've seen Junpei be quite intelligent in this show, and I feel like sometimes the dub just doesn't give JP the justice he deserves, because this is quite a thoughtful thing for him to do, to try this. And he's trying, as I said, he's trying different things that Tomoki and Azumi are trying. He's not just calling out helplessly, he's actually trying to take some action to rescue them. And sure, it doesn't work out perfectly, but we learn something. We learn that if you say spirit, you can activate your detector and your detector comes towards you. In the dub, he just says execute now, which isn't really, doesn't make much sense. I mean, I know they say execute before the evolution, but we've seen specifically that the word spirit makes their spirits react. So, I don't know, I feel like that this is probably the best part of the episode, and I know you think it doesn't make too much sense, but I feel like this is the part in the episode that makes the most sense compared to what happens later.
What we do find out, though, is that when he does call it out, it hits a force field,
yep,
which is a plot force field, which is never explained what it's doing there, and when it goes away, it's never mentioned ever again.
I think that it could possibly be maybe the Datamon set something up.
They never say it.
Maybe. It is very much like something that isn't stated, but we just are led to believe that it's to stop the children from yelling spirit and getting their detectors back. But at least they're showing us a new mechanic and a new feature of this world, and you got to give Frontier credit for the world building. And honestly, I like Junpei in this scene, and I will always mention that I like when they give him, the ability to be the smart character, because that's what he is. We have Izumi is she's very diplomatic. She's very good at communicating. They don't have to fight. They just have to talk it out with Izumi. And then Tomoki's he's pure and he's kind. And that's his character. But we haven't really seen much of those three have those character traits actually stated, rather than just, forced down our throats. But I feel like this like sort of subtlety of Junpei's thoughtfulness, I don't know, I like it.
Well, the barrier could be coming out of that stone thing with the weird pillar platform they were on.
Yeah, like the altars. That like it was like sort of like an altar area. Looks like some ceremonial area or something. It wasn't explained, but maybe.
But yeah, that was a problem. It wasn't explained at all.
Yeah, no, it wasn't explained. And yeah, so Junpei gives up, and Tomoki says that Takuya and Koji will save them, and Izumi says they should believe in him, and Junpei says that he wants to. Ranamon and Mercurymon show up, and Izumi says that evil spirits are still the legendary warriors and shouldn't play such dirty tricks on them, and Ranamon just tells her to be quiet. And then she wonders why they can't just kill these three, because their whining is hurting her ears. And Mercurymon tells her to use her head, and how two of them remain still, and that they'll come to save the other three, and they might even know where the other two are. And, I don't know, in the original it seems that Ranamon doesn't even think that they should try to work it out with the kids, but in the dub it's almost like she's saying, hey, maybe I could torture it out of the kids. So I don't know, that was a weird difference that I noticed.
That doesn't make any sense.
What?
Sorry, continue.
No, continue. No, I was just going to go on. You continue.
That doesn't make any sense because later, I believe in the next episode right at the beginning, her statement to Mercurymon is, I knew we should have killed them all immediately. Why? I will never listen to you ever again. Yeah,
and she's showing, in the next episode, she's showing some brashness that we saw from Takuya earlier, so she's also given this weirdness, daisuke-ness that characters have all of a sudden been given.
She's always partly had that by, running after her fan club to try and kill the kids all on her own.
Mm.
There's no reason, like we were given with the Dark Masters, why they would all do things apart from each other. These legendary warriors, whatever, should be working together, but they choose not to. No,
and I feel like they probably could have all 5 of them killed the children by now. If they all attacked at once, considering that, they basically all had their beast spirits except for Ranamon, possibly. They could have just ambushed them when they first showed up, before anyone had their beast spirit, and before they actually started thinking about actually fighting, and I feel like they could have killed them instantly. But I guess I know the good guys are meant to win, the bad guys are meant to lose, but I feel that the reason that they act separately is never really explained. They always just go separately. And I get it makes sense if they're like, okay, so each of them is looking after a different area, but they seem to move pretty sporadically and depending on what the area is.
We don't have any confirmation that Mercurymon and Dustmon have beast spirit, which means that they're starting 5 of the bad guy team. Only 40% of them had beast spirit, maybe.
Yeah, but I know at least Petaldragon and Grottomon was there, and even though they're not there now, I feel like even if they just attacked at the same time as their beast spirits, I feel like they could have done more damage.
That would make sense. Grottomon could 1v5 them in the first place.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, we saw that, and we then see Petaldragon do the same thing. So if they both attacked at the same time in their beast spirit forms, they should have just killed the kids, right?
More or less.
Ranamon starts tickle torturing them, which is, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've read this doujinshi. Agunimon hears the rain and wonders if it's his imagination. It then starts raining and he wonders if this is Agunimon's power. Ah yes, the fire elemental's power over the rain, of course, how could we ever not see this coming?
The fact that it implies that he controls the rain at all
it's
very
not that.
Odd.
It's that he's sensing the elements, but it does come across as like he is summoning them, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to say that he's able to sense them, which makes no sense because you're just like, oh yes, these 3 elements are going to come, and it's very plot convenient.
I think it's clearly in meaning that he summons them.
Oh, see, I didn't get that impression, but because that made no sense.
But why would Mercurymon's reaction and then at the end of the episode being, well, they can use the elements when we can too. Not, they can sense the elements, we'll go to places where the elements are not.
Yeah, I feel like they're working alongside the elements, and that's the way they use them. Like, they use the wind and the snow and the thunder, and they use that to power up, the spirits of wind, snow, and thunder. But that doesn't explain why Gunimon and Lobamon are powered up by it.
The natural element of fire that falls from the sky.
And light. I mean, light does fall from the sky, technically. It comes down from the sky.
You mean lightning?
Light.
Who's got the element of light?
Wolfmon.
Is he?
What do you think Wolfmon had?
Friendship?
Ah, yes, the element. Oh, those elements. Water, wind, fire, darkness, wood, friendship.
And kendo.
And heart.
Heart.
With your powers combined, I am Captain Plot.
Yeah, it seems very clear to me that he was controlling the elements, or at least summoning them to an extent. It is nonsense to think that his superpower was to stand there and be like, ah, the weather's coming.
Oh,
I
it
guess
makes no
I'll
sense.
attack now.
I mean, he should be, like, 100% also dead because of the rain. Because he is, fire. And he looks pretty, like, chill being in the rain.
He's not a Charmander.
Still feel like it should not be a comfortable thing for him to do. So he remembers how when he first started evolving, he was thinking about how he was fighting alone as Takuya, but he didn't notice about how different Digimon have powers, and apparently he has the power over the elements, I guess? And then he says that the rain will stop, and it does, and it makes no sense. In the dub, he's thinking about how a Fanimon said that his destiny was here, and he felt like he could do anything at first. And then overconfidence got him in trouble, and he never realised what having spirit was all about. I'm like, okay, Takuya, I'm glad you've realised what having spirit's all about. Now, do you mind telling us? Because all you said, yes, weather happened, and now I understand. Like, thank you for letting us know exactly what was happening, plot. Junpei is saying how Takuya and Koji probably ran away and left them behind. In the dub, JP says that they'll come back and make Ranamon and Mercurymon pay. So it's effectively the opposite. While Junpei's lost hope in his friends, he's saying, well, they're not here yet, they've abandoned us, we're here alone, we're going to die. In the dub, he's hopeful, and it's completely weird in the next episode where it's the opposite, where in the original he's more trusting, and in the dub he's less trusting. It's just, I don't know, it's weird that they've swatched his character here, but switched in the opposite direction in the next episode. It's strange. It feels like an unnecessary change to me.
Given his backstory that we find in the next episode, the original makes more sense, though.
Yep.
Thinking that he had been abandoned because he would expect that people do not stick by him.
Yeah. And this is almost foreshadowing for that, because we start to know, hey, Junpei's, like, earlier in the episode, he was like, wow, I hope they do come. And then now he's saying, they've left us behind. And that is actually pretty okay foreshadowing for the next episode. It's showing, it's giving him, it's not just saying, hey, look at this character development we have, look at these character traits here, here, and here. It's actually showing us what the traits are before we are introduced to why they are. And, I mean, I know that's what media should do. Media should say, hey, look at this character's problems, before actually saying this character has problems. It's like what we complained about, I believe it was Jury. How, like, well, wouldn't it have been great if we found out all this about her mum, like, and Destiny, like, 10 episodes before this? And I feel like Frontier is actually doing it, but we shouldn't give it too much credit for something it should be expected to do.
With that, and how we got to the end of the season, and like, did you know that Yoli had a backstory too?
Did Yoli have a backstory? Oh yeah, with the siblings, about how she wanted to feel alone, but then she realizes she doesn't want to feel alone. Yeah, that was right. Yeah, she deserved more. Miyako deserved more from Zero too. Koji sees the others being tortured, and we see that it seems to hurt him. Like, he seems to be really upset. And I kind of like this, how he's like suddenly, he cares about them. He's shown like that he doesn't really want friends, and he doesn't actually seem to care about them, but now he seems to actually want to be their friend.
It's not going to be nearly as interesting as when Ray from Atmon finally says that he's their friend, though. That's
going
to be the best.
That's because Atmon is like slightly better written, probably. In the original, Koji is concerned if he would be even able to help his friends because he's injured. In the dub, he's just worried about he's outnumbered, and there's no mention of him being injured at all.
Or them being his friends.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of implied that he wants to help, and he looks unhappy that they're unhappy, so. Bokumon and Namon are being attacked by Sepikmon, and Bokumon says how they're not enemies, they're just looking for their friends. In the dub, Bokumon tells him to attack Namon first. Thank you. Sepikmon says if they're not enemies, they must be friends. In the dub, Sepikmon says that they're funny and asks to be his friend. Namon then says, yeah, sure, we'll be your friend. And Sepikmon says that he's going to attack and kill them, and Namon asks why, and he says that no friendship can be born as long as you're alive, and true friendship starts with death. And they're just words to live by, aren't they? Isn't that what you want to live by? Like, we don't need Arpamon and Petaldramon's life hacks anymore. We need Sepikmon's, like, death hacks.
It's a really weird and concerning scene in Japanese, although in the English, they just totally undermine and destroy it.
Yep.
Which is a bit odd. So, in the Japanese, it's, I'm gonna kill you, and that's how we'll be friends, because I'm a psychopath. And the other one, it's, let's be friends, you should dance. Dance is pain.
Yeah.
So, they would have been alive, it just would have been uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it sort of makes no sense with their reactions, that their reactions look like horrified.
That would make more sense.
And they
given
look
the original.
upset. It makes no sense about them wanting to dance. And I know that's because he's stomping around and he looks like a character who would dance a lot. But, I mean, well, I can kind of see why they made the change because, like, that is terrifying. Like, this monster is saying, I'm going to kill you because that's the only way we become friends. You're right, that's a scary, scary thing. So it may sort of make sense to change such a dark thing.
The worst part about this episode, I don't know if you felt this way, was they kept bringing back Digimon that had lines and had very specific personalities and then sticking them in weird places. Like Sepimon was a fortune teller who was a particular way, but he wasn't out there to kill people.
Yeah.
But now he's this thing. And Dardamon ran a junction, like a pawn shop, and did his own thing. And now he's there, like there's three of them and they're mindless. It's so strange how they're framing those differently when you could have just picked one of the other 1,000 Digimon to fill these slots.
Okay, so I think it's because it's establishing that different Sepikmon have different personalities. Like, one of them basically said, I'm going to hit you over the head, and I'm going to look at the stars that come out of your head after I hit you, and I'm going to tell your fortune doing that. And then the Dardamon was quite intelligent, and he had a business to run. And he wasn't going to be scammed by some kid who said that this was his without proof. And, yeah, it was quite intelligent. Then we have these three who are effectively brainless. And then we have the Sepikmon, who believes that anyone who becomes friends, it has to start with death. So I feel like that's fine. It's actually establishing that there are Digimon who are the same species of Digimon, but have different personalities, live in different places, react to things differently, believe different things. And I'm fine with that. I know it is because they probably just said, look, we don't have that many new character designs. We have like a few of the armor evolutions, but we kind of want to spread those out. We have these other ones that we want to spread out. But since they're just not big parts, let's just pull ones in that we've already had. And that's fine. I didn't even notice it. I was just like, okay, it's a Sepikmon and 3 other Dardamon. I didn't for a second thought, they're the same and should have the same personality, because they are different. Like, if you get 2 people who look similar, like, I don't know, like twins or brother and sister, they look pretty similar, especially with twins. If they're fraternal, they look the same, but they could be completely different people on the inside. I think that's what it's trying to show. It's like, okay, we have these 2 Digimon, and they've got completely different personalities. And you know what? I like that. It's nice.
But have you considered that this is the first time, I think it's the first time, they've done this in the entire show?
Toucanmon.
All the Toucanmon were the same.
Some of them have different voices, at least in the English version. The Trailmon all have different personalities.
Okay, first of all, the Trailmon look different, so we're assuming there were different strains there. Second, the Toucanmon had different voice actors, but they all acted the same. They were all fans of Ranamon. They all wanted to steal the camera or take the camera off Tomoki after he got it from them. They did the same stuff because they were similar. This is the first time that we've seen a Digimon that's had like a personality, and now another one comes along that's totally different. And I think you can say it's establishing something, but if you're going to establish something that's world-defining like that, maybe don't wait till episode 23.
Well, it's better late than never. Like, I'm pretty sure in the whole of Digimon, we haven't seen this much. Like, all Digimon that we saw, they were either the same one, or they might as well have been. Like, when we meet the baby Digimon, all the baby Digimon are basically the same, and then when we see another Digimon, it is either the same Digimon, or, yeah, you couldn't tell the difference. So I feel like this has never been done in Digimon, maybe. Like, they never said, oh, no, I'm not that Leomon, I'm a different Leomon, or, no, I'm not that Digitamon, I'm a different Digitamon. Like, I'm pretty sure that Digitamon was always the same, right? Oh, no, except for the one in the Chinatown. That one was a different one, but they had the same personality.
The personality of running a restaurant.
Yes, and that was it. I feel like at least in this way we know that, hey, look at these 2 Sepikmon who are the same in design. They're still called Sepikmon, but they have different personalities. And thank you. This has never been really shown before, and I can't believe we're speaking about this for so long, but I feel like it's actually quite good. I like it. I know you brought it up as something to complain about, but I like it. I like how this seems thoughtful. And we can rag on Frontier all we want, and there's lots to rag about. But there's every so often there's something that's really thoughtful about the series. There's something that, just happens, like, oh, here's this mechanic. Or, oh, here's this thing that we've never seen in Digimon before. Here's this fun idea. Here's this bit of world building. And you've got to give Frontier the fact that it's amazing with world building. Like, it does describe things. The mythology is pretty interesting. And then there's like all these little thoughtful tidbits that just sort of pop up and aren't, thrown in your face or anything, but they're still these subtle bits that are just sort of there. And I don't know, lately I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about Frontier. And people have been saying, oh yeah, Frontier's my favourite season. But they haven't really said why, besides of like, oh, because of, the world building. But I feel like there is a lot to like about Frontier. I mean, there's a lot to dislike as well, but I don't know. We have you being so negative and we need me to be so picking out even the smallest of tidbits.
I think you might be giving them too much credit. I think you're giving them a positive spin on what is probably just laziness. They just went, oh, we have these available. Sure, that works.
Yeah, but they didn't give them the same personality. The Sepicmon has a different personality. The Datamon, as you said, they aren't taking apart their Digivice because they don't have the smarts to. They don't know how. We don't know if the Datamon from Akihabara, I think it was called, that he knew how to open it up. He's probably opened up electronics before. These Datamon are probably just regular Datamon. They might even be something that's programmed by the evil spirits. They're just lackeys. They don't run a business. They don't work, independently. They just work under orders. And that's what they're clearly doing. And this Datamon, the one in Akihabara in the Autumn Leaf Fair, was just doing it. And he had a business and he was successful and he was happy and he was bright. And if they were really lazy, I feel like they would have given the Sepicmon the exact same personality and the Datamon the exact same personality and, the exact same frame of dialogue, but neither the Sepicmon nor the group of Datamon were given the personalities that the Digimon of the same type had, and I feel like it's on purpose. I don't feel like it's necessarily laziness. Sure, they still used the same Digimon design because they didn't want to come up with any more because they already had their allocated Digimon to introduce for the season. But I feel like if they did introduce a Digimon, it'd be a very small part for them to introduce a whole new Digimon just for pulling apart some Digivices and then saying, hey, I should kill you so we can be friends. I don't know, I feel like it's a thoughtful thing.
I still think that there's not a chance. There's not even the remotest 1% chance that they sat down and they made the decision. Yeah, this will be a Sepicmon, this will be a Datamon, and that'll show them that the world is varied and broad. There's no way they thought that at all. Maybe laziness was the wrong word. You're ascribing a significant positive reaction to an accident.
I still don't think it was an accident, but that's fine. Anyway, so in the dub, he says that they can't be friends if they don't dance together, and Bokumon and Naemon are looking upset, and not because they're being told they're going to be killed, but because they can't dance. That's apparently it. Bokumon says they don't want to die, and Agunimon catches the boomerang. Sepicmon says he doesn't understand how they can be friends if they're still alive, and then asks if he can be friends too, and Agunimon says yes. Then Sepicmon shows him the way to his friends. In the dub, Agunimon says that if he wants friends, he should just be himself, which I have no idea why he's saying that. I mean, I know it's the lesson of if you want friends, all you have to do is be yourself. That's fine. We know that. It's a thing, but it makes no sense for Agunimon to say it. Because Sepicmon is being himself. He is saying, to be my friend, you have to dance.
Or die.
Or die. And I feel like that's being himself. So I feel like Agunimon's line was just the dubbers saying, we can't think of anything else for him to say. Let's put in the lame message.
I, the coward Agunimon, will tell you to be yourself, even though I had to change and stop being myself, who was a coward who wanted to run away.
Effectively. Randomon is bored of tickle torture and says how she's going to kill one of them, even if they are just bait. In the dub, she says she's going to try something more drastic. It's not said what she's going to try. If she's going to try more extreme versions of torture, or if she's going to kill them, but it's probably implied to be the former. Junpei has a fantasy about saving Azumi from Calmaramon. It's strange. Then Randomon says that she chooses Junpei to be first. And she uses an attack called Jealousy Rain. And I love her little dances that she does whenever she casts a spell or an attack. It's just it's cute. It's just, I like Randomon. I like her little oh yeah, little jigs she does. It's so cute.
In the English, I noticed that Randomon, they intentionally misdirect you from thinking that it could be Junpei at all, because when she points, it's that's you now, sweet thing, but she's talking about Junpei, which there's no way she'd be actually saying that about him.
Junpei's a sweet thing.
Yeah, to us,
he's
not
shaped
to
like
her.
A friend. He's shaped like a friend. Tomoki's shaped like a friend.
Well, Randomon's not interested in friends. She doesn't have any.
Oh, that's mean. I like Randomon. I'll be part of the Randomon fan club.
That's a dangerous thing to do.
There are Deramon there. I'd hang out with the Deramon. They're pretty cool.
Are there?
I'm pretty sure when we saw, like, the shot of the fans at her concert, there was some Deramon in the audience. I know because I like Deramon.
Fair enough.
An Airdramon that evolves to Deramon, that can happen, right?
No.
I'm sure it can. Digimon can happen. Koji is done a concern. Thanks, notes, for making no sense. So Koji is concerned and screams about Junpei, and then Spirit evolves. Wolfmon pushes Randomon out of the way. Why he didn't do this earlier when they were getting tickle tortured? I don't know. Is it implied that he was just standing there for half an hour watching them be tickle tortured? Is this his kink? Do we have to kink shame him? I don't know.
More importantly,
Yep.
Why would he yell Junpei's name before evolving when doing so would alert everyone that he's there? Then they would have to wait through him evolving, and then they would have had to prepare. They would have had time to prepare a defense.
That is a really good point. I feel like something the Frontier does badly is that they don't really think about attacking mid-evolution very much. And I always love when Digimon shows that there are still things happening while they're evolving, and I always like when someone interrupts an evolution. It's really cool, and they should do it more because I'm sure that bad guys should do that. But no, they probably just heard Junpei. Well, like, okay, now we have to wait until he evolves so we can fight him. And it's weird. Like, I'm just imagining the situation, right? You know, the kid's staying there and like, okay, Randomon, I'm gonna fight you. Execute Spirit Evolution. Randomon's just staying there watching politely. Like, okay, I'll let you finish. She's just watching you evolve. She's just standing there like, oh, okay. And especially when in the dub, when they pad out the evolutions to be 4 minutes long, I can just imagine, you know, the evil spirits staying there with a coffee, watching. Oh, okay, they're still going. Oh no, it's the English version. They're deciding to pad it out a bit more. We'll just watch. I don't know, I don't feel like the bad guys in Frontier should be that polite just to watch them evolve and have their evolution sequence every time. Like, interrupt the evolution! It's quite obvious what they're doing. Especially with the will plays, that's when you know you're in trouble.
It's much more interesting in the English if you think about the fact that they're split out. That if, say, Takuya has evolved and Koji and they're all doing it, and you got all 5 in a row, that Tomoki's just standing there at the end of the line waiting for them all to finish so he can begin. Yeah,
they're in a line of evolution. They're not evolving at the same time. And that's what something I like about our war game, is that Greymon and Kabuterimon evolve, but Greymon evolves sort of first. And then, of course, the bad guy attacks the one who hasn't evolved yet. And, I mean, he attacks both of them, but he does more damage to the one who hasn't quite evolved yet. And, I don't know, I like that. I don't like it when they just sort of, like, imply that the bad guys are waiting for 3 minutes. So, Wolfmon is fighting Mercurymon and Calmarimon, and Wagunimon shows up 12 minutes late with Starbucks. See, I just write things in my notes. I'm just like, okay, I'm sure I thought that was really funny when I wrote it, but it's not funny now. Agunimon is going to save the kids while Wolfmon fights, and I like this. I like that we're shown that Takuya is sort of like, he's big into strategy, and is a bit of a strategist, in the way that he's thinking about things. I know that doesn't always go as planned, and he doesn't always strategize things super well, but at least in this situation, like, he has things like, okay, you fight, I'll save the others so they can evolve too. I don't know, and I use the word thoughtful a lot, and I think that sometimes Frontier can be quite thoughtful in the way that it thinks about what it's writing.
I think you're missing the more interesting part of this, where I believe there was a difference between the Japanese and the English here.
Oh?
Where he's running towards them, in the English, in the Japanese, he's like, alright, I'm gonna go save them. And then he has a flashback to when he was having the argument with Koji, and then it comes out of the flashback and goes, wait, I need a plan, because...
Oh, yeah, no, I did write that, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you can't think of it like it's a video game, right? Okay, well, I'll need a plan, now I'll have to strategize it. Fine, that's great. It means he learned something from the experience. In the English, he goes, I need a plan. And then it cuts to Koji, and he goes, I need a good plan. He didn't learn anything. He already knew to make a plan.
I like how in the original, Agunimon says that he needs his allies. And Naemon says, what are allies? Where are the allies? And I'm like, I love Naemon so much. He's the best. Takuya starts sensing his surroundings, and Bokumon wonders if he's different, and then wonders if he's turned into a coward.
Harsh.
And was like, okay, I guess you would get the impression if he's just like, he's not charging into battle, he's just closing his eyes. It may give you that impression, considering he just kind of did disappear, and they don't know where he went. So thunder starts, and so does wind and snow, and it's so convenient and makes no sense, and I don't know why he would... Like, I know you think he is summoning this weather, and I think that he is waiting for the weather, but I guess that makes no sense. Like, what happens if there was no weather? But it also makes no sense that he's summoning it. So whatever he's doing right now, I think we can both agree makes no sense.
I think I can use the evidence of that he told the rain to stop, and it didn't just... When the rain started, it started normal and then got heavy. When he told it to stop, it stopped.
I thought he was just predicting it. He was like, it's going to stop now. Like, I just got that impression because of the way he spoke, but I can also see how it's him commanding it. But it makes no sense for a fire warrior to be able to control the rain or, to be fair, any weather.
Neither of them makes sense.
Yes.
Mine just means that it's also not a coincidence.
Yes, you're right. Mine relies on heavily on the fact that it is a coincidence, which, yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. It is awful if you look at it in my way. At least with your way, it's just like, it makes no sense, but hey, at least it's not super duper plot convenient.
Like, at least in my version, he intentionally won the fight, even though the snow should have put his fire out.
Also, it's the rain. The rain and the snow should not have done well. The only one that it should be able to affect him positively should be thunder. Like, if you had to say one of them to affect him positively, right? If you put thunder on fire, just thunder by itself, well, actually, technically lightning, either nothing happens, or if it strikes on something, it'll get bigger, I guess.
What happens when you hit a toad with lightning?
You get the script.
No.
I don't want to know what happens when you put a toad in lightning. What kind of questions are you asking me, Jay?
Well, the answer is the same thing that happens to everything else.
Oh.
The best line in X-Men 1.
That's beautiful. I don't even remember that line, but that is beautiful.
Well, Storm says it to Toad.
That's cute. Takuya says that he's a Goonimon. In the dub, he's mainly saying about how he finally knows what it means to be a Digimon. Ranamon says the 5 of them can go to hell together. I always like when the original says, I'm going to take you to hell.
Sorry, I finally know what it is to be a Digimon. I control the weather. That thing that no Digimon does.
Except for, the weather Digimon, the weather Appmon, who is, the weather app.
Appmon aren't Digimon.
Yeah, you're right. They're smartphone applications.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Mercurymon and Ranamon notice a Goonimon, and they say that he seems stronger. Salamander, which is Takuya's character song, starts playing briefly, and this happens until the other Chosen are freed, and then they evolve, which, of course, in the dub is expanded into this longer scene, which is always really annoying, but I skip it in the dub. I keep it in the original, because, at least it's really, really cool music, and it doesn't go for, 5 minutes. Then there's some dramatic wind, thunder, and a snow shot. It's really annoying because it makes no sense. I mean, even if he's summoning it, it makes no sense. Whatever the context, it makes no sense. And then I noticed when Kazimon's fighting, we get a lot of shots of Kazimon's bum.
Ideal.
Which is unnecessary. Let's be real. This is unnecessary at this point. We know that, she's the attractive one. We look at her bum. But I feel like they constantly zoom in on her bum whenever she's fighting. Especially when she's about to do an attack. It's so annoying that that's all she is. Because we could display her as this amazing fighter. Sure, have other characters notice she's attractive, but don't make her into, she's just attractive, that's all she is. Make her powerful and make her always, amazing that she's so strong. But she's not strong. It's just annoying. Mercurymon explains that the natural elements made the Chosen stronger, and again, it makes sense for Kazimon to be powered up by the wind, and Blitzmon to be powered up by thunder and lightning. Very, very frightening me. And it makes sense for Chakmon to be powered up by the ice. But I'm not sure how Wolfmon and Agunimon are powered up at all in this situation. What is powering them up? What? I guess, again, the only thing that creates light and fire is lightning, I guess.
He's powered up by nighttime.
He's powered up by... Maybe his spirit is friendship, Jay. He's powered up by his friends being together.
Powered up by smugness.
Yeah, it's just so convenient. It's annoying. Bokumon is happy and he calls him Agunimon instead of just Takuya, because he is about to say that his name's Takuya and he says, no, Agunimon. And it's a sort of nice moment. Calmorimon is set on fire, which, let's set the water elemental on fire, I guess. Alright, I guess she's a squid, but also she should be strong against fire, but I guess fire is strong against water now? I don't know. Randomon says that they should have killed them initially, and Mercurymon says that he has a plan. What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. There is First of all, how much time between him disappearing and coming back? It looks like it was a lot of time. That was my first impression, but obviously that was not the impression of someone who's watched it for a long time. But the impression of someone who's watching this for the first time, it's like he's been gone for at least a week. But you're right, no one mentions it. And more importantly, it doesn't make sense how they can control the weather now. Specifically, how Agunimon by himself can control the weather now. So, and also why, if they want to use the kids as bait, they can kill 2 of them and keep 1 of them. Or, if Ranamon really wants to kill Junpei, why she would kill him so slowly.
No, you're right. What rating would you give this episode?
It's like a 4. It's bad.
See, I gave this episode a 6, but because I feel like I enjoyed this episode. I feel like it had a lot of points that I thought were quite thoughtful and meaningful, but it also had a lot of points that made no sense, like how long was Takuya gone? Why does he have these powers all of a sudden? What exactly is he doing? Is he summoning it? Is he sensing it? What is happening? Why are they powered up by this? Besides, the 3 that make sense. Why did they not catch Koji? Because he was the one who was unconscious. Where did the Chosen go during this time? I don't know, it asks a lot of questions and it sort of like gives you a few bits that are okay. But yeah, so I gave it a 6 because I enjoyed this episode. But after thinking about it, it's kind of like it does have a lot of problems.
It's like the script was missing a few pages.
Yeah, and they tried to fill it in with other bits of information, right?
Well, they filled it in with him going to the real world, quote unquote, and then just like, oh, I'm back now.
How did you think about this episode compared to what you thought in your Obnoxious Synopsis predictions?
They're all question marks.
Except for Of Course Not and 5 and Not Filler.
Apparently it was worse than I thought.
Yep. Which, usually you've been predicting low and you've been giving them higher ratings than what you predicted, but no, with this one, nah. What was the major difference between the Japanese and the English version? I think it was Sepikon. Yeah. And Junpei being more trusting in his friends despite the next episode showing us that he has problems trusting his friends.
No, man, Sepikon's a whole scene.
Oh, yeah. The Sepikon was the main one, but I just said, if you're going to bring up the Sepik one, I'm going to bring up the Junpei one. Episode 24 starts off with Ranamon being annoyed with the children, and she's basically saying what Takuya said a few episodes ago, by how that they shouldn't run away and they were a few hits away from winning. In the dub, Ranamon says that she's so mad she could spit, but she won't because she's a lady. Then Mercurymon says, "Oh, are you?" And then she gets angry. And I find this a really annoying thing. It's like, oh, this is what a woman shouldn't do, but also it's funny to question a woman if she's a woman or not, because apparently it's funny. I have no idea. Instead of, Ranamon being quite bratty, and we know that she's bratty, and sort of like, oh, well, we should have stayed there because she's stubborn. But giving her this, making it this, quote unquote funny moment, it's annoying. Mercurymon is thinking about how they were using their natural elements and how they fought making full use of their spirits, which is, I said in the last bit about episode 23, it doesn't exactly make a whole huge amount of sense, but we can sort of, pretend it does, I guess, for a second. We can suspend our disbelief, can we?
I mean, there is a water monster talking to a weird shield knight monster, but sure, we'll suspend our disbelief about somebody who can summon the snow when he's standing next to a guy who shoots lightning out of his face. More importantly, when Mercurymon says that they will now use the elements as well, how are they going to throw around the elements of metal and darkness?
How are they going to throw around the elements of fire and light? The same way, I guess.
Yeah. Light makes sense, because that's a thing. Darkness is the absence of a thing.
So just, do it at nighttime.
But then light will beat it. Light should always beat it.
Not at nighttime. Look, if you get into a place dark enough, there's no light.
If you bring a light that's bright enough, there's no darkness.
Damn it. I'm still saying, at least with Ranamos, they can just rain a bit, right?
Why don't they zap her with lightning? She would die.
Well, they set her on fire and it worked. Ranamon notices it's snowing, and then she notices her reflection, and I was about to be really mad at this scene, oh, of course, women just care about her reflection. But then when Mercurymon walks away, Ranamon's just pulling stupid faces and looking at her reflection, and I really like that. I know it's probably like a, ha 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 ha, look at her, she's not ladylike at all because she doesn't care about, looking at herself in the mirror all the time. No, I really like this scene, it's funny. It shows that she doesn't just care about what she looked like, she's also kind of fun. And, she's wacky, and she's immature, and that's why she's doing that, because she's having fun. I know, it was a cute moment for me. Ranamon isn't quite sure what Mercurymon means, and Mercurymon tells her to leave him to it, and then Mercurymon wonders where Duskmon is, and Ranamon points out how he always changes the topic. In the dub, Ranamon's mainly just saying about how Mercurymon's not paying attention to her, and she's whining because of it. Duskmon is watching the thunder and the lightning, and they're very, very frightening. And he remembers what happened, and he wonders why Koji causes him so much unrest, and he wonders who he is. In the dub, he's wondering why he feels empathy towards Koji, and he's upset that he disturbs his concentration.
It's because they're opposites, I assume? Because one of them's light, one of them's darkness? Maybe?
And that's probably why Koji also felt uncomfortable, because he's light and darkness, and when they cross swords, that's what he was feeling.
Surprised Koji's the real main character now.
Isn't he?
I hope not. He sucks.
Hey, don't talk about Blue Man Group like that.
I will do what I want.
The kids are going to the Venus Rose still, and Takuya wonders why Junpei is acting like the leader. In the dub, JP is calling himself the leader, and he's ordering people to follow him instead of just being enthusiastic. And this part annoys me because in the original, he is just being enthusiastic. And there's nothing wrong with that. Izumi says that he just wants to look cool, Koji says that he's the oldest after all, and Tomoki says he wants to be leader too. And Takuya says that he should stop acting spoiled first. Which, for one thing, is annoying because Tomoki's not been that spoiled recently. He's actually been pretty decent. Tomoki says that Junpei eats chocolate all the time, so he's spoiled too. Izumi says that that's true, and Tomoki then says that he can try to be the leader next time. In the dub, the children seem a lot more spiteful and quite aggressive towards JP. And they seem almost upset that he is acting like the leader and doesn't deserve to be. And while in the original they seem to be just joking and having fun, now they're just talking horribly behind his back. Like how instead of Izumi saying that, you know, he just wants to feel cool and look cool, she's saying, "Oh, what a show off! He's just showing off." And instead of Koji saying about how he's the eldest, Koji's saying he doesn't want whatever he's trying to show off.
To be fair, they say bad stuff about each other behind each other's backs all the time. Like when they talk about Takuya and what would happen if there were two of them and how crap he is.
I know, but this is like, I know, it seems a lot more spiteful, and I know it doesn't mean as much. And I guess they're doing this because they make JP's actions later about slightly doubting his friends mean a bit more, but he doesn't actually doubt his friends that much.
You have to push it for the 8-year-olds who are watching in the English version.
Like me.
Yep, you wouldn't have gotten it otherwise, probably.
Probably. Junpei is looking really unhappy because, of course, he can hear what his friends are saying about him. The cliff face falls off and separates Bokumon and Nemon, which is the saddest part of the episode.
Should have grabbed onto the belt or the pants.
What about the egg?
Yeah, grab the pants.
I'm worried about the egg right now. There is a big eyeball structure that sucks them in. The kids land and Junpei's on top of Izumi with his arms around her legs. Koji notices that they're trapped here, and then an arm pushes Junpei into an eye. In the dub, I think it's implied that JP can still hear the other children talking in the original. But in the original it's not. He's just sort of standing there and like looking around, but in the dub he can hear, he's reacting to things.
Isn't Izumi's immediate reaction, "Hey, get off me"? Like,
oh yeah, when he lands on her, yeah.
This is important for later.
Oh yeah, because of what happens, yeah. Volcamon shows up and he says that all his friends hate Junpei, and he says that he's alone, and says that one of his friends clearly pushed him into this world. In the dub, Volcamon just talks about himself and about how he prefers to be alone, and also that Tommy will now get his chance to be the leader. Also, something I noticed in the dub is that JP seems to be a lot more self-doubting in this part. In the original, just kind of like, no, my friends would never do that. He's just kind of like, my friends wouldn't do that. And he just doesn't seem as sure. And I know it's kind of weird considering the last episode. In the dub, he was more sure of his friends. And I don't know, this is what I was referring to in the last episode's discussion.
Well, he's been given lots of evidence recently why he shouldn't be sure.
Oh yeah, like them talking about him, like, terribly, like, not even sort of behind, like, physically behind his back, but he was still present.
It was in front of his back.
Yeah. He remembers how the kids were talking about how that he was being the leader and how he wanted to be the leader. And Volcamon says he's selfish and envious, so they think they're better off without him. Junpei says he doesn't believe him because they're all his friends, and then he evolves. Volcamon says that everyone abandoned him and he has no friends, so he tackles him. And he says some things into the microphone, and I really like how he's kind of like this football announcer.
But I didn't like that.
Think.
Like, he's a big gridiron bro, and it doesn't make any sense. He's got a volcano on his back, and you go, okay, he's probably going to punch someone, or he's going to, like, blow lava at them. No, he has a sonic voice, and then you die.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I expected in the dub for him to start singing.
What is he, Edamon?
Yeah, but they didn't do that in the dub. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of expected him to sing. Like, with that design and with the microphone, I don't know. It's how I feel as a podcaster. He's just like, you know, I feel like I'm a big man in all my armor with, like, a big volcano on my back with a microphone. Yeah.
I'm the king of football.
I'm so evil. With my Gazimon. So Volcamon's saying to the microphone about how nobody likes Junpei and how he's going to die alone. Blitzmon says that he's in a bad mood because he got separated from his friends, and I'm pretty sure at this point Junpei's character song starts playing in the background, and I really like these like little nods to the character songs. I feel that's sweet whenever they have a character song in the background. Blitzmon defeats Volcamon and then scans the fractal code, and Volcamon says to remember how everybody abandoned him. And did you notice that Volcamon doesn't have a Digitimer when he dies?
I didn't notice that, but then again, it's not something I really look for. I mean, I just noticed that JP was scanning someone, which is rare unto itself, and also that it was halfway through the episode. And Volcamon's in the title, and has been around for, 45 seconds?
Oh yeah, Volcamon was not around for long enough to merit being in the title. I mean, it is a confrontation, but it is a confrontation with the shadow, the true self.
Which is never explained, so presumably, I don't know, what does that mean? It's probably Mercurymon with the mirrors, otherwise it makes no sense how this is happening. Or it's Duskmon, and that's a darkness power.
Okay.
Probably Duskmon because it's an eyeball.
So Blitzmon is thinking about his friends, and then his shadow grows and tells him to remember the time in school. Junpei was showing the kids magic tricks, and then he offers monster cards to the friends. And then it starts raining, and one kid offers another kid his umbrella and says that they can go home together. In the dub, the kid with glasses is called Kenta. Just a bit. I think they mention it later on, his name's Kenta, and I just thought that was a nice little nod that the dub does. Junpei asks if he can come too, and he'll even give them the monster cards. So we're seeing this, again, that bribery bit that we've seen in the start of the season, where Junpei was always saying, hey, I'll give you some chocolate if you do this.
This is the best part of the episode. Like, this entire backstory part, where he's like, yeah, everyone pay attention to me. I'm desperate for attention. I will buy your attention with cards, with chocolate, with anything I can get. And, oh, where are you going? Is there anything slightly more entertaining than me? Oh, you're gone. Oh. And it's interesting, because it's not really shown to be anyone's fault.
Yep.
Like, the kids are never spiteful to him.
Yeah, and he's never, like, super terrible. He has lots of acquaintances, but he doesn't really have any, like, friends. He's got people who, like, that no one hates him.
No.
Like, no one is actually saying, oh, that Junpei, he's always trying to, you know, show us his magic tricks. They're enjoying him, but they're not enjoying him as a friend. They're enjoying him as, like, oh, you know, that there's that guy who does entertaining things.
He's a spectacle.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, that kid in class who always makes you laugh, but you don't actually, like, hang out with him because you don't really know much except for the stuff he says in class, and it's quite sad. Like, yeah, sure, he's not hated, and he's not bullied, but it's not a happy life. Blitzmon thinks that he had many friends back then, and the voice tells him to remember what happened after. We get another flashback, and it's when Junpei notices the kids are leaving, and he tries to ask somebody to share the umbrella, and he offers them chocolate, but says goodbye and leave. But I think in the dub it's just a monster card again.
I love this. This is the reason he always has an infinite supply of chocolate on him for bribing potential.
Yeah.
And even better, that was foreshadowed in like the first or second episode when he was bribing those Digimon with chocolate.
Yeah.
Because he does that all the time.
And in the episode which he honestly should have realised this was wrong, with the Digimon preschool episode where he's saying, hey, I'll give you chocolate if you like Sunomon.
He does this all the time.
Yeah, and I like this, and yeah, I know, I said thoughtful like 50 times this episode. This is thoughtful. And the fact that we were shown this previously in the show means that, you know, oh, look, they're actually paying attention to what they've written before, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that they've written it before. I think this was legitimately planned in advance, which is the most impressive thing, because they never do that.
And I like that about the backstory that we've been given to Junpei, and I don't actually remember Junpei getting any backstory or any character development, and I think that's kind of nice. Then the voice says that he always wanted to be liked, but only bribed people for friendship. In the dub, JP is saying how he believed that he never deserved friends anyway. The voice then says that everyone abandoned him, and I think it's also implied that the reason he doesn't like thunder is because it reminds him of that time when he was walking home alone and there was thunder.
That's a bit much.
No, I think this is a more further foreshadowing from previously in the show. We've seen him cower whenever there's thunder. And I kind of like that it's like, oh no, it's not that he's scared of thunder. He's scared of the memory that he's reminded of when there's thunder. I don't know, it's kind of nice. Then, his shadow shows up and it just becomes Persona. Well, Persona 4 to be exact.
Yeah, it opens up a big wrestling arena.
Yeah.
Out of the rocks with electric ropes.
And he effectively says, I am the shadow, the true self. And Junpei says, that's not me, basically. Then we see that the arms where the other children are, start grabbing at the children. And one grabs Azumi's bum, so she thinks it's Takuya, so she attacks him. And then another one continues to grab her bum. And it's so uncomfortable. And, I don't know, she looks less mad this time and doesn't attack it or anything. She just kind of stands there. And of course, this second bit of grabbing is cut in the dub. Because, this isn't needed. Takuya kicks one away from Tomoki, and then Tomoki loses his hat, which honestly is the saddest part of the episode, but he has it in his evolution.
Of course he does.
Which happens 5 seconds later. And of course, in the dub, the evolution is padded out, which, 4.5 minutes of skipping evolutions, let's go! Then they're all saying how they're worried about Junpei, and Takuya says he must be behind the eyeball gate. Well done, Takuya. I'm glad you worked that out. Junpei is still punching at his shadow, and he says that he understood that friends can't be brought with chocolate or magic tricks. And, I don't know, it's still kind of weird because he did kind of try to do this to the Sunamon, but I guess it's implied that he only recently learnt this. He said that the others and Takuya taught him that. And also the baby Digimon, I guess. But he doesn't even mention the baby Digimon who says, you can't just bribe people to like you. And, I don't know, I feel like they should have referenced that, and that part annoys me.
I mean, have you ever listened to a baby and then remember what it has to say?
If it was a baby Digimon, I would.
I mean, maybe.
In the dub, he seems to be almost considering what the voice has to say. And then he wonders if Takuya and the others are really part of this self-inflicted bad dream. And then he becomes sort of confused. And it's like, wow, the dub's sort of trying to make it go a little bit deeper by saying, this whole thing is just a fever dream for Junpei. I don't know, it's strange. I'm not sure what the dub's trying to
I mean, look at the place he is right now.
Yeah, this whole thing might just be part of JP's psyche, and that's, I know, it's not, but that's kind of dark. Junpei says that his friends taught him the meaning of trust, and how he's not like how he used to be. Now there's a big wrestling ring that shows up out of nowhere, and the Shadow says that he's the past and current wavering self. In the dub, Shadow Beetlemon says that he will always be with him, unlike his friends. Junpei says that he will defeat his current self with his old self. Defeat his old self with his current self. In the dub, JP says he's wrong because he knows that the other children are his real friends. Then the Shadow turns the rocks into the other children, and the Chosen are saying about how he's spoiled and should get a beating. Dark Blitzmon says that if he disappears and is defeated by Blitzmon, Blitzmon will die as well.
Which we find out is a huge lie.
Oh yeah, we find out he's a mega lie. In the dub, Shadow Beetlemon says that JP's attacks make him stronger.
Also a huge lie.
Yeah. Blitzmon gets attacked and then de-evolves. And then the Dark Blitzmon says he doesn't have any friends and asks, what are you even fighting for if you don't have friends? Junpei then says that he has lots of friends and he trusts them, so they're his friends. In the dub, he thinks that the copies that the Shadow made are real, and the Shadow must have something to do with them and must have brainwashed them. And it makes no sense because if they were, just one of each of his friends, that's fine. But there are literally hundreds of his friends, and I don't know how he believes that this is real, right?
Yeah, Ken tricking Davis, this is not.
Yeah, this is kind of like Junpei's just dumb at this point in the dub, apparently. The others show up to the eyeball. Azumi lands on Takuya, and he says she's heavy.
Aha, this is what I was foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, it's so annoying.
So, when Junpei lands on her, she's like, ew, get off. And when Takuya does, he's like, ooh, get off.
Yeah, but it's not even that. He says, oh, you're heavy. And then Azumi jumps back and is grabbing at her skirt like she thinks she's fat. And why is this necessary?
It's because she likes him.
You're giving, this body image problem to this child. It's gross.
It's not the body image thing.
Yeah, no, she's grabbing at her skirt and grabbing at her fat to see if she's fat.
I don't think that's what happened.
No, I've got the screenshot. She is 100% doing that.
I'll look at it.
I'll show you the screenshot because I uploaded it to our social media today. So I've deleted it off my phone, but it should be here somewhere. Just padding for time. But yeah, so what she's doing is that she's look, she's doing that. She's looking to see if she's fat.
Oh, fair enough. You probably got me there.
Yeah, and that is disgusting. Meanwhile, in the dub, Takuya asks if she's alright, and Zoe yells, of course she is, and jumps back, but it makes no sense because the animation is still there of her grabbing at her skirt. So there's no joke about him looking up her skirt or anything. It just makes sense to be there in the dub.
In fact, her reaction doesn't make sense because she very proudly ate like 35 bowls of curry rice the other day.
And yeah, she's very happy and she says she's a growing girl, but all of a sudden she's upset by it. I'm fine that they removed that part because that was disgusting, but the dub should have done something with the animation to make sense.
Because I like Takuya's reaction. There's nothing wrong with what he said. Because what it does is, where it's every time Junpei's in contact with her, he's like, I love you. He's just like, a person just landed on me and it's uncomfortable. Can you stop?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I guess each character is a different way involved with, whenever Izumi falls on them or they fall on Izumi. And you gotta say that's like, there is that at least. Like, every character's not the same.
Also, quick question. How long were the kids outside that eyeball gate? Was it 15 minutes in their time?
Time makes no sense in Frontier. There's no concept of time.
Yeah, but that had to be at least long enough for Junpei to have his whole conversation. And to have beaten another Digimon. So I'm thinking there was at least 10 to 15 minutes. The kids were in a little hallway.
Yeah.
And the only place Junpei could have gone was through that gate.
Maybe they were trying to work out how to get past the gate.
There was never ever shown to be any difficulty getting past the gate. They just stood there and didn't move for 10 minutes.
Well, we don't know how long they were looking for Junpei before. We don't know how, them being, fighting the hands. We don't know how long that took in relation to how long Junpei's fight with his shadow went for.
Well, it must have gone for the entire time somehow, even though it's never shown. It's only shown to be like 2 seconds.
Well, they padded out the evolution, so at least we have more time in the dub.
Fair enough.
The shadow then says that he will defeat the kids after he defeats Junpei, even though what he said earlier sort of implies that if he defeats Blitzmon, won't he die as well? Because that's what he said if he was defeated.
True, because
it's weird.
If he kills Beetlemon or Blitzmon, then there'll be nothing to cast the shadow and he'll go away.
Yes. But if you kill a shadow, I'm pretty sure you're still there. Like, if I don't have a shadow, I'm still here.
Are you sure? When was the last time you didn't have a shadow?
At night, when I'm walking outside, when there's no light.
Are you sure there's no light?
If I'm standing in a cupboard and there's no light, I don't have a shadow.
But how do you know you can't see?
If I'm standing behind a light source and there's no light source behind me, then I have no shadow.
We need to experiment.
If the sun is directly above me...
You have a shadow, it's just small.
It's just very small, but just less of a shadow. It's not a full-size shadow like this. It's not a 3D shadow.
It does happen in Hawaii, though. That's actually a real thing. Where I think it's like once a year, there is a time where the sun is absolutely and perfectly directly above it. Which means that if you see poles, they do not cast shadows at all. And if you see photos of them, they look wrong. You get uncanny valley pictures, feelings from it. There's a specific word for it that I can't remember, but it's awesome.
That sounds really cool, actually. Also, if I'm standing behind, like, a building that is in the way of the sun, I don't have a shadow.
Yeah, you do. It's just combined with the buildings.
Yeah, but I can't see the shadow.
Yeah, but just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there.
Okay, good point.
Just because you can't see the script in the frame of every Digimon shot doesn't mean it's not just, like, over there behind that rock.
Yeah, it's always in, like, the corner of the screen. It's in, like, it's out of the frame. It's just there in the corner. But it's always there, just so the characters can check to see if they, they've checked all the boxes. Junpei Beast Spirit evolves, and then the Shadow Slide evolves. Shadow Borgmon says that he's so close that if Borgmon were to attack him, they would both be hit. Borgmon says he doesn't care what happens to him because he wants to save his friends. In the dub, he says he's willing to risk his life to save his friends. And Borgmon's able to defeat Shadow Borgmon despite not dying himself, so I guess Borgmon was lying? Or the Shadow Borgmon?
Okay, we have to be clear here. There is no such Digimon as Shadow Borgmon. This is the shadow of a Borgmon.
It is Black War Borgmon.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's Black Borgmon.
Wait, no. When Borgmon slide evolves, it is. But when Blitzmon was a physical shadow of it, it wasn't.
Yes. But at the moment, he is the shadow, the true self.
This is confusing.
It is very confusing. In the dub, Koji then calls JP Jeep for some reason, which makes no sense and doesn't make any sense considering Koji's character.
Hey, Jeep, you okay?
Speak to me!
Did Koji just call me Jeep? Hey, you really are my friend.
Of course, you bonehead!
Yeah, but don't tell anybody, alright?
Beep, beep, I'm a Jeep.
Junpei says he realized that trust is the most important thing in friendship. In the dub, JP says how the others are his family and the best friends he's ever had and he loves them, and then also points out how since Koji called JP Jeep, they must be friends. Takuya says to stop with all the complicated stuff, and Junpei says it's just his own thoughts. In the dub, Takuya says he's uncomfortable, and then the hands show up again, and you know what I do love? I duly love this separation plot. And then Bokumon and Neomon are looking at the floating eyeball structure, who is now laughing. What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I thought Junpei's backstory was great and everything else was really lame.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like Junpei's backstory, but everything in between was kind of like, meh. What'd you rate this episode?
I want to give it a 6.
I gave it a 7, but that was mainly because, like, I really liked the backstory. I thought that was great, and it was foreshadowed. It wasn't just, oh, have this backstory, trust us. It was, hey, remember all those things that happened previously in the show? Yeah, there's a reason for that. And I like that. That is how backstories should go.
And yet, it's so rare. But the rest of the episode did generally drag it down.
But, it was alright for Frontier, right?
For Frontier, yeah, sure.
How did this episode compare to your predictions in Obnoxious Synopsis?
Way wrong. I thought that Volkmon might have been another form, another Digimon thing.
Like the child evolution?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought was going for here. But that was back when I thought that maybe the Dark Mist affected everyone differently. It doesn't. It just sent Takuya to the Doom Train, and I don't understand. And they're never ever going to explain.
I thought you were about to say sent him to the Shadow Realm.
It kind of did.
Kind of. The Shadow Realm was the real world, 100%.
But we did get flashbacks about his past. Which makes sense, because it's in the title. I'm so very, very smart picking out things the title tells me.
Yeah. What was the major difference that you noticed between the Japanese and the dub?
I didn't really get much at all, honestly.
I got that JP was kind of more hesitant to trust his friends.
It just seemed the same. I know it's slight differences, but I didn't really notice it.
Oh, also, the kids at the start of the episode, how they were talking about JP in the dub was just so spiteful and upset that he was being the leader, and also JP was not just being enthusiastic, he was straight up saying, well, everyone follow me, the leader, which makes no sense, because that's not his character. What
I did notice was that Rika said that Takuya came back like a mon on a mission, because that's what Rika says.
That's beautiful. I love that. I don't listen to the recaps anymore, admittedly. I should, because Rika's in them, and I love her. What do you think the big green structure is, the one with the eyeballs?
I think it's a Duskmon power.
Okay. Do you have any predictions for the separation arc?
No, except that it will probably suck.
You kind of say it'll suck. I mean,
I can and did.
Can you not be hopeful?
No.
Okay.
It's Frontier.
For screenshot of the week, I just have the screenshot of Sepicmon telling Bokumon and Neomon, oh yeah, you have to kill them before you can be friends with them. Like, true friendship starts with death. Like, wow, that is pretty metal.
Mine's Randomon pulling faces at Mercuriumon's mirrors. It's fun.
It is fun. The Digimon that were introduced this episode, should I include Shadow Blitzmon?
Nope.
I like it as design. I always like dark evolutions, okay?
It's not a dark evolution. It's a shadow thing. That's
Okay.
different. A paint swap is not a dark evolution.
Okay, effectively, yes. What about Volcamon?
Volcamon's weird. Like, the design of him is actually fine as a weird muscle bro who's also with his backwards hat and football stuff, and then like a volcano on his back. It just, when it got to the microphone is when it lost me.
See, I kind of like his design. I only just realised watching it now that it seems like a football-y sort of gridiron-y looking thing. I just always thought he was an angry dude in armour with a microphone, which, looking back at it, makes no sense at all. On to Postmon Pat. Yeah.
On the weekly poll, we got one from Chuckmon who says that Flamon is so cute, but they had to pick Home Away From Home because the animation is amazing. And Ali said that they like Home Away From Home because they feel like Tai kind of got rewarded for being there. But when Takuya went back, he feels regret. And full of worry.
So this weekly poll got 20 votes, and Home Away from Home won with 14 votes.
Of course it did.
So 70%. So Home Away from Home sort of like struck it out. But there were still 6 people who thought that Digimon Frontier did it better. I think at this point, I'm willing to say, yeah, Home Away from Home did do it better, probably, but I feel like the Frontier episode wasn't too far behind, and it was still probably one of the best episodes of Frontier we've seen so far.
But did it have Koromon eating watermelon?
No, it did not.
So you have been desutroid.
What he duly does is duly enjoys this watermelon, which is the best line in that episode.
You really screwed that up.
It's what he says.
But you're not like that.
Sort of.
On With the Will, we had one from Jay Ukyo, who says that they enjoyed Atmon 25. It's their top 10 material, but admittedly not too much happens. Please don't use the new Atmon outro as the outro to the Apply episodes. I don't know what that means yet.
We don't change the intro. We're not planning on changing the intro or outro to the Apply episode. The only reason we change like the main show's intro and outro is
to denote season.
Yeah, for each season. But for Atmon, we'll just keep it the same. Yeah.
I guess they don't like the new outro song?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're on the second outro song for Atmon anyway.
Yeah.
We didn't change it before.
Yeah, we did, but we also, it didn't have it had the same intro before.
On With the Will, still Jayuko's, saying that from now on, all the answers to the questions about why Frontier is doing something will be because Frontier is checking off boxes on the list of things that Adventure did without any regard to how it fits into the story they had when the season started. And that's really fair, especially considering how, empty the story was at the beginning of, there's a bad guy, he's bad. If this was Adventure, Cherubimon would be dead already.
Yeah, we are 24 episodes in, and by the way, Jay, are you excited? We're almost halfway through Frontier.
I'm not excited, that means we have to watch half of Frontier again.
Good point.
And I guess that's one thing that was great about Adventure that I don't think about, was that you didn't get sick, really, of the bad guys in it, because in the 50 episodes, there was about 50... there's less than 15 episodes per bad guy, pretty much. Because they all eventually die. And so you get to have these, contained story arcs, and there's 4 mini-seasons. Whereas Frontier, it's been one long, trudging story of nothing, in which Cherubimon has shown up once as a hologram, and has never been shown to do anything dastardly whatsoever. You're just kind of told that, hey, you know that bad thing? He did that. We got one from Chuckmon who says that they love Flamon, and they never realised that he looks like a Kingdom Hearts character, but boy does he!
Boy does he.
Izumi's mental image of the 2 Takuyas was great. They want a scene with the 2 Kojis, though, that they refuse to imagine. Jay questioned whether or not Takuya's brashness was accurately portrayed, or if it was forced to make the conflict in the episode. They take my point, but the undercurrent of Takuya's brashness has been there since episode 1. No, I agree that the undercurrent's been there. What I mean is it's been suddenly magnified, even though he's had 20 episodes to temper it.
Also, considering we've previously seen him as, a bit of a strategist, he's big into the strategy. We saw him saying, at least in the dub, he said that it was when he was playing with his army men. We knew that he was good at planning these kind of things, and in that episode he was just kind of, very impulsive and very much like Daisuke almost.
But they also say that the recklessness was not so much there, and they agree that the development was not great building up to that conflict. Regarding Appmon episode 25, they think that the setting was great, and Astra holding up the band and going, Minerva was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Haru saving the Drawmon was very protagonist. The episode was good as Ray goes rogue and blends into the city. Should we be talking about this on the main show?
We've already said that it's Atmon.
Yeah, there we go. It's nice to have these 2 storylines played out in such a short period of time. Boy, isn't it, after I just complained about Frontier trudging along. And it ended with a buzzkill, which is just let's just not do that right now. And Wildwing64 says they agree with Jay about Takuya's personality shift. He's like a Davis, an early Adventure Time mix. The writers have made Takuya out to be a strategist previously, but his plan now makes not much sense since he's fighting with his weaker human spirit. At the end of episode 22, it's unclear if it was time travel or a hallucination, which we still have not come to a conclusion about.
And I feel like it's bad that, we're unsure of its time travel hallucination. Surely with something like that, they should make it, very clear about what it is. I don't know, they should sometimes I feel like they should just say things rather than just saying, oh, it's open to interpretation what it was.
I think I always assume whatever would be the stupidest answer. Like, what hallucination seems too clever for what happened because it implies an additional step. It implies that whatever happened was not literal. And I'm thinking, why would they ever put something on screen that wasn't literal without telling you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, at the end of the day, I think it was just he physically went back to the real world, there was time travel, and then he came back, and the train was just sitting there going, oh, it's you. Because I don't think they put that much thought into it, honestly.
Oh, yeah, that's a worry, yeah.
On Gmail, we got one from Marius, who says, to me, Home Away from Home is clearly the stronger episode, but maybe the explanation was handled better in the Frontier episode. It's probably true. But let's face it, plot explanations never were Adventure's strong suit, especially considering they were given by Kenai most of the time. By the way, did you just rickroll us in the outro music of the after credit segment of the last episode? Nice. But it doesn't really hold a candle to last year's April Fool's joke, although that was a small episode and it's hard to top that. Still, rickroll is the best troll on the internet. Classic. Well, that's not all we did, but it was there.
I feel that episode 21 was better than last year's. I don't know, I feel like it was...
I think we got more people.
I think yeah, because it wasn't as obvious.
Well, because we set it up a week in advance.
Yeah.
It was fun. Ryuichi says that home age Takuya?
So Ryuichi says that Home Again, Takuya Returns is one of their favourite episodes in all of Digimon. But watching it critically, it's not as good. And then Ryuichi says that his closest second favourite is Flammon after Monodramon. And the episode helped him go through some personal stuff. He says that in the original, Takuya seemed less happy, and wonders it was the right thing to do. In the dub, he seems more positive.
Kylone says that they appreciated May's fanfiction more after listening to The Adventure Vegans to Glow.
Oh yeah, that's what I called Special 22, by the way.
Solid. It's not that bad as a fanfic, considering May's age at the time. The first Digimon fanfic was literally just retelling the plot of Adventure, but with friends instead. Probably Kylone's own one.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Halfway through May's fanfiction, Phoenixmon was added to the evolution. They want the Egg of Light to be shown, and each time a different ultimate is shown for fun.
Like Holydramon, or Fannymon Fall Down Mode.
I don't really follow what the context of that would be, but okay.
In the descriptions, Phoenixmon is said to be, when the shadows of Biomon, Birdramon, Garudamon, Phoenixmon. Kylone's referring to the possibility of when the Digi of Light was found, if that the ultimate was changed constantly.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think for memory, 12-year-old me was going to do that with the Digimental of Reliability and the Digimental of Light. Because, I knew that they had multiple evolutions.
Considering Maisie keeps throwing rocks, maybe Maisie's spirit should be Earth. Jokes aside, would you consider it's a good idea to add a character that represents Jay, or is Jay's purpose just to exist as the narrator?
Well, I think in the survey so far, it looks like Jay's going to become a character. So far, with all the results we've had so far.
I look forward to how I translate onto paper. Probably not well. On Reddit, we got one from Fexmafe, who says, regarding the fanfiction compilation, Hawkmon being a girl because she wears a pink is hilarious, knowing how May currently feels about gender stuff. Dak and Jax just says that they got the impression that the second episode was an illusion created by the Doom Train. I love that everyone's latched onto Doom Train. Because it's not named.
It's what it is. It's the Train of Doom, the Doom Train.
Who himself was an aspect of the Spirit of Darkness, which makes no sense, but okay. And they agree with me. Takuya's super arrogant personality was out of the blue. That's 3. On Tumblr, we got one from IRL Yuya, who says that they're excited because we're leaving a territory frontier where Jay can just say Frontier will be bad and be done with it. Look, I'll be happy when we're not in that anymore, but we still haven't left it yet. Episodes 21 and 22 were interesting, and Takuya is becoming less flat as a character, which is nice. But Junpei's not becoming less fat as a character. Hey! He's still got a little chocolate in his jumper. Anonymon says that, do you think Mako will get a crest? in Try, I assume. If so, what crest do you think she'll get? Digi-Egg Miracles! Digi-Egg Miracles!
I think I don't think she will get a crest, because I think we're done with that whole crest thing, but if she does get a crest, maybe it could be kindness?
Miracles!
Destiny. Destiny, Jay.
Oh, Destiny, that works too. Because
Darkness?
kindness exists! Ken's over there!
Yeah, but he's not kind of there.
But they can double up.
There is a Digimental of Darkness, so is there a crest
there?
of darkness? Yes, in the card game, and I believe
Card game doesn't count.
I believe in one of the games, it causes
Card game's not canon.
any child to evolve to their adult stage.
Weird. Also, listening to old episodes again alongside rewatching Adventure. That's very nice.
That's cool.
They have a question for me. Now that Frontier kids have beast spirits, do you think that they're going to be able to evolve further than they already have? Yes. If so, what sort of evolution will it be? I really don't know. I think that they're going to do something stupid. I know that. There's 10 legendary warriors. I think probably when they beat these warriors, they might be able to incorporate some part of their elements in, maybe. That's my best guess at this stage. It's going to be pulled right out of the writers' butts, though. That's all I know. Also, do you think the other kids will get child stage evolutions? And now that Volcmon wasn't for Junpei, I don't think anyone else will know. Because it wasn't... I don't even think we're going to see Flamemon again, right? Because that was just a representation in the real world that he's changed.
I don't know.
An Anonymon says that they just heard the special compilation fanfiction episode, and they want more chapters, which is what's happening. Why did Mace stop?
I think I stopped because I just stopped caring. I had a vague idea of where I wanted to go. I had all these reference pictures that I printed off from the internet of the further evolutions. There was going to be the Spirit of Wind, and in it I was going to get all the Digimentals available for both Vmon and Hawkmon. I believe I was going to get another Digimon, but I can't remember what Digimon that was. And yeah, there was about that. The ancient Spirit of Wind was going to show up, and I was going to become her at some point. I think. I can't remember.
Spoilers.
I feel like I had a plan, but I just feel like maybe I got told off too many times for writing during my classes. Maybe I started to enjoy my classes a bit more. Maybe I think it was a mixture of a few things.
I can't wait for the chapter arc which is called Twilight, where you fall in love with Edamon. With Vandemon.
Jesus,
all
right.
Vandemon, and it's you and it's him, and you're like, how long have you been how long have you been the main villain? And he's like, as long as I can remember. Anyway, so they're happy that Jay said some good things about Frontier recently, and I mean, it's been sparing, but it happens. If you throw enough spaghetti against the walls, some of it will stick. Though, sadly, the episodes get worse. Okay! Oh, we have differing opinions here. And they enjoyed Agumon acting like a true Digimon.
We then got an Anonymon who actually sent this to me on my personal Tumblr, but I thought it was good enough for me to, answer it here because this is important information. So they ask, on your podcast you keep mentioning Ding Ding Look and your Takoyaki pan. Can you add some context for this?
She'll never stop.
I actually got the complete instructions onto my phone today, and I'm going to get Jay to read it because I cannot read this without laughing. So Jay's going to do a dramatic reading of the Takoyaki pan instructions. And since last time I found that there was an additional part that I didn't bother reading, that's actually the specifications of the Takoyaki pan. So please, Jay, without further ado.
Okay, so I guess this is in lieu of the fanfiction chapter, which doesn't exist yet. So, Takoyaki pan of unknown brand. Here we go. Specification. Name. Natural gas with metal mold, small takoyaki baking pan. Material. Aluminium and non-stick coating. Can do the size of takoyaki. 4x4 centimeters. Applicable stove. Gas stove. Packing box. Sizes. Alright. Features. Non-stick mold cold rolled flake material, science and technology, and a non-stick surface treatment with a hard texture, anti-oxidation, not easy to deformation, heat transfer effect, and healthy characteristics. The use of high-strength, cold-rolled plate, high-strength rigidity, well-behaved, thermal conductivity, durable. Non-stick, surface treatment, happy health, high temperature, does not distribute toxic gas, baking effect, and high efficiency. 3. One-piece molding design, the appearance of fine, seamless, easy to clean, in the stable dimension. The making method of takoyaki. Step 1. Dye on the stove. Open the fire heating, each hole brush oil. 2. Turn a small fire. The novice is best to open the fire in the fire the smallest so as not to time. In each hole into the tune of a good batter. Low gluten flour, 200 grams, cold water, 200 mils, taste leaching, glutinous rice wine, 10 grams, egg 2, baking powder half teaspoon, put all the materials together with the whisk stir well. About 7 to 8 points full, and then thrown into each whole onion, octopus ding, cabbage ding. Step 3. And then into the batter, to be full, then the fire can be slightly larger open point, with bamboo sticks along the edge of the poke down. Top ding ding look is able to turn the bust. 4. All turned over a good half, turn the whole body, the shape of each small ball, about the regular surface brush oil. Step 5. In turn over to the surface of a small balls can be gold. Package probably includes 1 times takoyaki pan, 12 not big size hold. I forgot! Package probably includes...
We're not quite sure. It could be a velociraptor.
Wait, isn't number 2 meant to be rotate the fire?
No, it's turn a small fire. I think
No, we always just joke about rotate the fire.
Yeah, it's just step 1, just dial the stove. So I also have had people say the best part of the podcast was you, whenever you mentioned the ding ding look. So now we have an audio clip of ding ding look.
That says a lot about our analysis, doesn't it?
So yeah, I'm really hoping that was as funny as I thought it was. It was very funny to me. I really like the takoyaki pan. Also on the box it had something along the lines of like, happiness is always in a warm place. Which is really funny because it goes on the stove and that is warm.
Alright everybody, join us for the next episode of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, The Dark Heart of Friendship.
Or Tomoki's Lonely Battle, Asuramon's Trap.
And Zoe's Unbelievable Adventure.
I hate that name so much. Or Ranamon's Tenacity, Female Digimon Personal Combat.
Now
that
you're
sounds
mispronouncing
awesome.
things.
What?
Tenacity?
Tenacity.
There you go.
Is that,
Gotta write that
is that
down.
what I said?
So tenacity.
For Weekly Wonders this week, I'm going to say Alice Isn't Dead because Season 2 just started and I love Alice Isn't Dead so much. It's by the same people who did Welcome to Night Vale. I think that Alice Isn't Dead is in fact better than Welcome to Night Vale. I enjoy it more.
It's a concise story with a plot.
Yeah, Welcome to Night Vale does have plot, but it's only like, Welcome to Night Vale is never stops. So the plot sort of takes a bit longer. With Alice Isn't Dead, like, they have long breaks. It's like they have it in seasons, and they're clearer. And, yeah, I think that everyone should listen to Alice Isn't Dead after this. That is what they should listen to. That is what I'm telling them to listen to. What about you?
I finished a book. You should read it when it's done. Like, I'm proofreading it now, but you should all read it.
Yeah, read this book when it comes out in, like, several months, I guess.
Also, all of you should write novels now. Just because it feels, it's an inspiring thing. No, but, really, what have I been doing? I don't know, I played a bit more Persona 5 came out.
I was about to say, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Persona 5.
Persona 5 is the best, and I can't tell you anything because it's all spoilers. It's so good, though. It's the best. I'm gonna steal. I think it's IGN. Their words. It's the gold standard in JRPGs. It's the best.
I would have thought that the golden standard was Persona 4.
Yeah, I know, but now it's even better.
Join us after the outro music for the pleasant sound of silence, or possibly the next podcast episode you have in your queue. Because we're not doing the fanfic until I write some, which I'm going to do in a week or so. The link dump is linked in the description, and you can find our screenshots of the week, along with our weekly wonders, which are also linked in the description and in our link dump. You can contact us to stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationMon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit. We'd appreciate if you were to review us on iTunes and on Stitcher, and we haven't received any reviews for a while, and we'd like to. That'd be nice. We also now have a website, and you can vote on the weekly poll and also the surveys, which are both linked in the description. And you can donate to our Patreon, which is which can be found linked in the description as well. And you can do that from as little as $1 a month, and $1 a month gets you access to our listener Slack chat group, where currently we have a Tamer Sona roleplay going on, but we're also been talking about the Invader Zim reboot and also constantly mentioning the Takoyaki pan instructions ding.
Is it a reboot? I thought it was a movie.
Oh, I don't know, because I've never seen Invader Zim before, but there's apparently a reboot or something, they're doing a thing. Uncancelled or something, I don't know. But higher levels of the Patreon get you exclusive notes, information, early and unedited episode recordings, the ability to suggest discussion topics, Skype calls with May and Jay, and more. We're also only a few doubles.
Dobbles. Australian dobbles.
We're only a few doubles away from meeting our next Patreon milestone, which will enable May to be able to say the word dollar.
That'll be at 250 doubly doos.
We'll also, so this Patreon milestone which will allow us to upgrade our hardware to provide higher quality content, and if we reach the milestone after that, we will start a monthly series covering the Digimon manga.
Also, again, on that Slack chat, you get to see the adventures of Graviton and Bagman, the best Digimon partners that ever existed.
In the world.
And thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who hosts a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon. Stevie, who is also Stevie on YouTube, and you can find the link to their channel in the description. Wuchinglong, who is at twitch.tv/Wuchinglong. Metal Mamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube. Sharkmon, Ishpobamba, Hiro Lato, who is at Hiro Lato on Twitter. Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Miragic on Archive of Our Own. Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter. Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Red and Garen from Breakfast with Digimon, which is another Digimon podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud. Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr. Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find on baggyburagu.wordpress.com. Small Wolfie, who is on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic called Eden of Melancholy. Tom, and Glitch Goat,
who is our newest Patreon supporter, so thank you. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which is found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Ergemon, and make sure to let us know for the podcast. And maybe next time I'll be able to speak a little bit better. I'm sorry, I've been tired. Anyway, see you